When I was reborn and back in high school, everyone was fawning over the beautiful, slender cheerleader, Jessica. But my attention was drawn to the quiet girl at my desk, the one practically invisible to the rest of the guys in class. It wasn't just because they'd make her the butt of the joke at the senior prom, it was because I couldn't let her be hurt again. In my previous life, despite becoming a successful businessman, I tragically died in a drunk driving accident. As the doctor was preparing to cremate my body, a woman stumbled into the room. With trembling steps, she approached my lifeless body, tears streaming down her face. Reaching my bedside, she tentatively lifted the white sheet, then collapsed, as if drained of all strength. I felt an unbearable wave of grief emanating from her, but I had no idea who she was. My spirit hovered above, looking at this woman with absolutely no memory of her. Finally, the doctor, voicing my own question, asked, "Who are you?" The woman slowly turned her head, wiped away her tears, and forced a weak smile. "I'm his girlfriend." I was his girlfriend? I was stunned. I'd never married, never even had a girlfriend. The woman, seemingly unwilling to explain further, said in a choked voice, "Could I at least take care of his funeral arrangements?" Those present, perhaps swayed by her sincerity, looked at each other. The doctor hesitated for a moment, then nodded. I was suspended in the air, incredulous. She really wanted to arrange my funeral? Over the next 2 days, I followed her, watching as she finalized arrangements. That night, alone in her cramped apartment, she sobbed throughout the night, clutching her skinny body. The next morning, she took a memorial urn to the river. She stroked a candy wrapper she held as if it was made of gold and stretched out the urn. The candy wrapper dropped into the river. "Kevin, have you forgotten me already? I'm Allison Moore." Hearing her name, a shock ran through my ethereal body. How could it be her? Allison Moore from my memories was entirely different from the woman before me. In senior year, Allison had transferred in and become my desk mate. She was skinny, shy, and considered the ugly duckling of the class. But back then, I was too busy chasing after the head cheerleader, Brittany Hayes, preparing all sorts of Hershey's Kisses, her favorite. Once, because I angered Brittany, she rejected my gifts directly, but unexpectedly, the candies ended up in the hands of Allison, and she kept them to this day. "You gave me these candies," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "Do you know that these little candies saved my life? Without you, I would have died long ago. I always thought that when I finally caught up to you, I would confess my feelings. But how could you just die? Why didn't you give me a chance?" Allison's voice was filled with despair. Then she smiled. "But it's okay. I'll come be with you." I realized what she was planning to do. I screamed, but the woman couldn't hear me. Slowly, she took a step forward, a tear escaping the corner of her eye. "Kevin, in the next life, could you maybe look at me a little more?" With that, she jumped into the icy river without hesitation. However, when I opened my eyes again, I was back at the end-of-year assembly. That day, I was holding a bouquet of flowers, ready to confess my feelings to the head cheerleader I had been in love with for 3 years. But, as it turned out, she publicly rejected my confession and walked straight into the arms of a wealthy kid. Having lived through that previous life, how could I repeat the same mistake? So, I gave the bouquet to Ms. Thompson, my guidance counselor. Before Brittany could react, I quickly turned around and stepped off the stage. Brittany, seeing this, looked at me in disbelief. "Kevin? What's going on?" She couldn't believe that the flowers weren't for her, that he wasn't going to confess his feelings today. "How could it be?" Brittany muttered. The end-of-year assembly finally ended. On the way back to class, I remembered that it was during this period that Allison Moore would transfer into the class and become my desk mate, a girl who had loved me for many years and was willing to die for me. I wouldn't let her slip away again. Returning to the classroom, the bell rang. Ms. Thompson walked in, her heels clicking, followed by a frail girl who looked like she was made of paper. "Today, we have a transfer student joining our class. Her name is Allison Moore. Everyone, please give her a warm welcome." Allison nervously stood on the podium, introduced herself, and was then assigned a desk next to mine by the teacher. I saw her walk over to me, tentatively reaching out a foot, testing the ground. "Excuse me, classmate. Is this the right desk? This will be my seat from now on." "Hello, I'm your new deskmate, Kevin." Thank you, Allison carefully sat down. She opened her old backpack, took out a stack of books, and quietly began taking notes. I reached into my desk and pulled out my tests covered in red X's, lamenting how terrible my grades were. Only 100 days left until the SATs. I wonder if I can improve. Suddenly, I felt a faint gaze glancing in this direction. I turned my head and saw Allison quickly withdrawing her gaze, looking down and scribbling on her notebook. This girl doesn't seem as suicidal as she did yesterday, but looking at her, she seems to want to look at my test but doesn't dare to ask. This girl is so timid, I thought to myself. I then deliberately pushed the test in between us. Allison, as if discovering a new world, happily smiled. However, after only a moment, I saw my little deskmate frown, seemingly not understanding why there were so many red X's on it. At this moment, I just wanted to find a hole to crawl into, but first, I had to think of a way to improve my grades. Just as school let out, my deskmate ran out. I also prepared to go to the bathroom and see where she was going. At this moment, my best friend, Ethan, seeing this, chased after me. Ethan looked in the direction I was looking and noticed my new deskmate. "Dude, have you already shifted your feelings? Anyway, you announced in freshman year that you wouldn't marry anyone but Brittany." Hearing this, I glared at Ethan. "Say it properly. What do you mean shifted feelings?" "I call it turning over a new leaf, stopping in time." Ethan looked at me with a weird expression. "Oh my God, don't tell me you actually like Allison?" I didn't answer his question, just nodded, watching Allison's figure gradually disappear into the distance. I fell into thought. I realized that there was a huge weakness to this rebirth. It seems that other than discovering that Allison liked me, I don't know anything else. Thinking of this, I put my arm around Ethan. "I heard you have some brothers at North High School. Help your brother with something." "What is it?" "Help me investigate Allison more. She just transferred from North High School, but it's almost time for college." "Why would she transfer to South High School?" "I think I need to find out a little bit." In the meantime, Brittany walked towards the bathroom, looking lost. "Kevin. What's going on? It's been one class already. Shouldn't Kevin explain to me? What is Kevin doing? Why hasn't he appeared yet?" While thinking, she suddenly heard Ethan's voice. Brittany raised her head and saw Ethan standing with me. She directly ignored Ethan and happily called me Kevin. I suppressed my smile. "You guys talk. I'm going back to class first. After being reborn, I really don't want to have any involvement with Brittany anymore." Brittany stood in place, looking at me in disbelief. "Kevin, what's wrong with you?" "I'm still hurt but Brittany seemed a bit anxious, wanting to say something, but Ethan was still here. Seeing this, I put on a straight face. "If you have something to say, just say it. Ethan's not an outsider." Seeing me like this, Brittany's voice seemed a bit strained. "Kevin, aren't you going to explain anything to me? Wasn't that bouquet of flowers from this morning clearly for me? Why did you give it to Ms. Thompson?" I looked at her in surprise. Are all pretty girls this narcissistic? However, these words coming from Brittany's mouth weren't surprising. "Who said I gave it to you?" "It was for the teachers." Brittany clearly didn't believe me. "That's impossible. Weren't you going to confess your feelings to me?" "How did you know I was going to confess to you?" "I didn't tell you beforehand." "You confess to me every week." "It's been 2 weeks already." "So what?" "So, that means I was going to confess to you this time?" "Brittany, I think people shouldn't overthink things. Back then, I did like you, but now I don't anymore. From now on, I won't confess my feelings anymore." From today onwards, we go our separate ways. Goodbye. After saying that, I dragged Ethan towards the classroom. Brittany stood in place, looking completely disbelieving. I just entered the classroom and saw that my deskmate was already back in her seat. I also quickly returned to my seat, preparing for class. Allison nervously looked at the students taking out their tests, looking like she didn't know what to do. Seeing me, she subconsciously took a step back. Her head was filled with the things she had unintentionally heard in the bathroom just now. Why did the teacher assign that transfer student to be at the same desk as Kevin? Kevin is a school bully. All of the previous deskmates were bullied and ran away. Allison's mind was a bit of a mess. Is the new deskmate that bad? But the last class, he secretly let her see his test and even talked about the material. Thinking about this, Allison felt scared. No wonder the deskmates in my old school bullied me in the same way. While thinking, Allison saw me taking the test out of my desk, looking towards her. Want to study together? Allison was slightly surprised, instinctively cowering. No, I don't need to. I was curious. New deskmate, why are you even more timid than last class? In the end, the determination to study still won over fear. She cautiously leaned closer to me, but before she could even see a word, she saw me quickly taking the test back. Okay, but I have one condition. Allison was stunned. Wasn't he just saying he wanted to study together? In Allison's mind, countless scenes of being bullied flashed by. She nervously closed her eyes. I'm not watching anymore. I took out a few white rabbit milk candies from my hands. Help me throw these candies in the trash can next to you, okay? Allison exclaimed in surprise, looking completely disbelieving. Throw them away? Yeah, that's all. Is that all you want? That's all. I brought too many today and can't finish them. Allison looked at me in surprise, seeing that I really didn't mean anything else. She then looked down at the candies, still unable to resist reminding me, but these candies are still good. It's too wasteful. However, this was exactly the sentence that I was waiting for. In my previous life, it was today that I gave these candies to Allison. At that time, after being rejected at the assembly by Brittany, she ignored me all morning. Of course, no one wanted the candies in my pocket anymore. At that time, I was annoyed in my heart. As long as I touched the candy, I would remember the scene of Brittany rejecting me. I then took out all the candy, planning to throw it away. Just as I went to the trash can, I heard the first sentence from Allison since knowing her, "Classmate, you shouldn't waste it." Stopped by her, I directly threw the candies to her. Then help me get rid of them. Then I went with Ethan to skip class and play games. Therefore, I didn't know why these candies saved Allison's life, but since it saved her life, it must be very important to my deskmate. In this life, I can only find a reason to give her the candies. Then you eat them. Eat them? Yeah, I don't want to eat them anymore. If you don't let me throw them away, then I won't eat them. Allison carefully put the candies in her desk. The goal has been achieved. I didn't bother her anymore, starting to study. The morning passed quickly. Just as school let out, Ethan was planning to drag me to the cafeteria. However, after only walking a few steps, I noticed that Allison didn't move. She didn't even have the intention of taking out her lunchbox, just looking down and fiddling with her textbooks. I asked my deskmate, "Aren't you going to eat?" Allison startled, raising her head. "I'm going later." Okay, then I'll go first. I didn't pay much attention to my deskmate. Anyway, she was so timid that she was even afraid of talking. Perhaps she didn't like to eat when there were a lot of people, preferring to be alone. After we got more familiar later, I would take her with me. Under Ethan's urging, I went straight to the cafeteria. While eating, Ethan also quickly found out the results of the thing I asked him to do. At this point, Ethan's interest increased greatly. This Allison is so pitiful. I heard a classmate over there say that Allison is a top student at their school, but her family situation is very difficult. It's so difficult that they can't even pay the tuition fees. Sometimes they don't even have rice to eat. But she's a bit timid, so bullying often happens at school. Therefore, Allison is often bullied. Later, she couldn't take it anymore and dropped out. Then, with the help of the guidance counselor, she transferred to our school. After hearing this, I could only frown. Poor student being bullied? Yeah, her house is in a remote mountain village. I heard that her parents are both dead. Her grandparents are raising her and her sister. Not long before school started, her grandfather went up the mountain to gather medicine to sell and earn money. As a result, he fell and broke his leg. The family's only source of income was cut off. I stood up and walked outside. Ethan startled. Kevin, where are you going? You wait for me here. I'll be right back. I left the cafeteria and went straight to the classroom. Arriving at the back door, I secretly peeked inside. With just one look, I saw Allison sitting silently there. Her hands were playing with something. I looked closely and realized that it was a few white rabbit milk candies. Could it be that she was planning to use this as a meal? While thinking, I saw Allison stand up, planning to go out, but after only walking 2 steps, her legs went limp and she almost fell. My little deskmate sat down in my seat. She gently patted her head with her hand, perhaps wanting to soothe the dizziness. I planned to rush in, but I clenched my fists tightly. At this moment, I finally understood the meaning of Allison's words that these candies saved her life. Her current appearance was clearly because she hadn't eaten for a long time, malnutrition leading to hypoglycemia. She was so skinny, probably also for this reason. At this moment, I wanted to rush in and tell her not to treat herself like this, but I knew that Allison was very stubborn. If I directly rushed in, I would definitely hurt her little bit of self-esteem. Who knows, it might even make her more and more alienated from me. I clenched my fists again and then turned around and walked towards the cafeteria. Ethan had finished eating. Seeing me come back, he quickly stood up. Kevin, eat quickly. I'm already done eating. I didn't say anything, sat down, my mind also in chaos. I didn't understand why fate was so miraculous. Why would it let a little girl endure these things? I couldn't imagine how Allison had overcome this stage in my previous life. I lowered my head and ate a few bites of rice, starting to think about what to do next. After finishing eating, I stood up and walked towards the food counter. Ethan was stunned, watching me buy a chicken leg, a loaf of bread, and a carton of milk, immediately shocked. Kevin, aren't you still not dash? I turned my head to look at him. Help your brother with one thing. At this moment, Allison had been sitting for a while, and the students were gradually returning. She felt that the dizziness was a little better. Today was her first day at South High School. Although the teacher had promised to help her reduce tuition fees and apply for scholarships, it would take a few days to get results. She only had $10 that her grandmother gave her when she left. She didn't know how long she could last. Therefore, Allison had set a goal for herself. From now until she got a scholarship, she would only eat 1 meal a day. She felt that she could still endure it today, so she didn't go to eat. But unexpectedly, she had hypoglycemia. Fortunately, there were candies from her deskmate. The deskmate said that these candies could help improve the condition of hypoglycemia. She couldn't resist eating one. The candy really helped a lot. This deskmate, though a bit wasteful, doesn't seem as bad as people said. Moreover, these candies just saved her life. Who is this deskmate anyway? Why is he so different from what others say, and completely different from anyone she's ever known before? While thinking, Allison heard my voice at the door. Ethan, I told you I couldn't finish it all. Why did you buy so much? What am I going to do now? The two of us were talking as we walked in front of Allison. Seeing the food in my hands, Allison swallowed hard, and her stomach started rumbling. Allison quickly hugged her stomach, afraid others would hear. She planned to endure a little longer and go to the cafeteria for something to eat at night. While she was thinking, a magnified chicken drumstick suddenly appeared in front of her. Allison was slightly surprised, looked up and saw that I was placing food on her table. I said nonchalantly, "Help me throw these away too." "Oh, are you throwing them away again?" "Yeah, I can't finish them anyway." Allison hesitated. She really wanted to advise me to save it for later, but how could these kids with good living conditions bear to eat leftovers? While she didn't know what to do, she heard me say, "If you think it's wasteful, then help me eat it." "I really can't eat anymore." Allison was surprised, looked up. No, I can't." "What's wrong with that?" "Just treat it as doing me a favor." "If my dad knew I was throwing away food, I'd get beaten up." "But..." Before Allison could finish her sentence, I quickly tore open the packaging and held the bread in front of her. "Don't but any more, eat it quickly." Allison immediately widened her eyes, she couldn't believe it. She looked at me. "Thank you, deskmate." I casually pinched her cheek, then awkwardly withdrew my hand. Allison hurriedly took the bread out of her mouth, knowing that she couldn't return it anymore. Allison quickly lowered her head, not letting others see her flushed face. "You're the one who should be thanking me," I said, then took a small bite of the bread. Allison felt an unprecedented satisfaction. Seeing her focused on eating, I couldn't help but smile. Seeing that she was eating very seriously, I took out the test that I was looking at earlier when she finished eating and found that there was 100 days left until the SATs. I watched for a while, then decided to check if my deskmate was done eating. Just as I turned my head, I saw Allison carefully putting away the drumstick and milk. This girl is planning to save them for dinner? How could that be? I intentionally bought nutritious food to nourish her. Deskmate. Allison, who was putting away the drumstick, startled. Huh? Is the drumstick not good? No, it's very, very good. Then why haven't you eaten it? Seeing Allison hesitate, I continued to say, "Eat it quickly." Allison had no choice but to take out the drumstick and slowly eat it piece by piece. I casually opened the carton of milk next to her. "Here, have some to drink so you don't choke." Allison received the milk and gulped it down. Seeing her cheeks puffing up, I smiled contentedly. I have to say, looking like this, my deskmate is very cute. It's a pity that she's too skinny. If she gained a little weight, she would definitely be a stunning beauty, even more so than Brittany. After that, I focused on studying again. But now I didn't understand the final big question in the test. Just when I didn't know what to do, I heard my little deskmate whisper, "This question should be solved like this." She took out her pen and a piece of paper, seriously writing the answer. I looked at the profile of my deskmate and couldn't help but smile. No one knows how beautiful that face is under the thick hair. Allison realized that I was looking at her, her face slightly red. "Are you watching me do my homework?" "Ah, yes, I'm watching you do it." "Just continue." My eyes still didn't leave Allison's face. Allison's mood calmed down a bit. She continued to write attentively. After finishing writing, Allison handed the paper to me, saying softly, "Take a look and see if you understand. If you don't understand, ask me." I nodded and reached out to take it. "Just slowly continue eating." But at the moment our fingers touched, Allison panicked and quickly withdrew her hand, lowering her head, not daring to look at me again. Allison's heart was pounding, feeling like she was about to go crazy. What's going on? Today, my deskmate not only pinched her cheek, but also touched her hand. Although he didn't do it intentionally, she had never been touched like this before. Allison's face was so red that she wanted to find a hole to crawl into. The afternoon class quickly began. Brittany just entered the class, and the class president stood up. "Brittany, there are still a few people who haven't turned in their homework from the other day." Brittany always had a habit: if she didn't do her homework, she had to stand outside the hall and copy it 10 times. If she didn't finish copying, she wouldn't get to eat. Brittany was opening the tests on the podium and said, "Oh, who hasn't turned them in?" "It's those guys in the back. For example, Kevin, Ethan." Brittany pushed up her glasses. Today, my impression of me was too deep. She didn't hear other people's names for a moment. Kevin, have you done your homework? You haven't done it, have you? Go outside and copy it 10 times. I silently stood up, thinking about how to deal with this situation. Next to me, Allison also looked at me in confusion. Does my deskmate also not like to do homework? But is it too heavy a punishment to stand and copy it 10 times? Thinking this, Allison didn't know what she was doing. She just timidly raised her hand. Oh, Ms. Thompson. Ms. Thompson's gaze also stopped on her, her voice also becoming much gentler. Allison, what's wrong? Allison weakly stood up. That, if I already know how to do those exercises, then is it necessary to punish me by standing anymore? Learning new knowledge is more important. As she spoke, her head lowered even further. After all, she was still not used to standing out in these situations, always feeling like everyone was looking at her. I looked at her in surprise, then smiled. My little deskmate is speaking up for me again. It seems that I have already started to have a place in her heart. Then, I saw Brittany nod, forgiving me. What you said is reasonable. Brittany didn't want to give up on any student. As I sat down, I suddenly had the urge to tease her. Deskmate, thank you just now. Perhaps realizing that I was getting closer, Allison's face was slightly red. No, it's nothing, I've also helped you. If it weren't for those candies and food, I might have actually fainted today, maybe even lost my life. Allison's heart was full of gratitude. I smiled lightly. Then we can help each other in the future. Okay. Allison lowered her head even further. For some reason, she always felt that I was getting closer and closer. It was clear that there was still a lot of space on the other side. Why did he keep getting closer? Could it be that one seat was not enough? Allison sniffed, smelling a light vanilla scent from my body. It smelled so nice. Realizing that there was something wrong with her emotions, Allison quickly moved to the side, moving and moving. After a while, Allison suddenly felt that there was nothing under her butt. She startled. Oh no, she's about to fall down. Allison desperately closed her eyes. At that moment, she felt her arm being grabbed by someone. I also didn't expect my little deskmate to be so unguarded. I was just joking, but she almost fell down. She really is a silly girl. Fortunately, I was quick to grab her. Are you okay? Allison didn't notice my unusual expression. She carefully held on to the table, then quickly withdrew her hand from my hand. After that, she moved closer to me and started to study attentively. After school in the afternoon, I was called to the office by Brittany. I didn't know what Brittany suddenly called me to do, but when I arrived at the office, I saw my dad standing there. After being nagged by Brittany and my dad, I returned to the classroom. When I entered the classroom, I saw that most of the students still hadn't returned. There was only Allison sitting alone in the classroom, her right hand holding a steamed bun that she had already taken a bite out of. I took a deep breath and walked over. Before Allison could react, I snatched the bun in her hand and took a bite. Allison raised her head in surprise, and her whole body stiffened. The place I bit was exactly where she had bitten before. Isn't this the so-called indirect kiss in TV shows? Allison didn't have time to think about why I snatched her bun. She just felt her face burning and her head buzzing. Allison hurriedly lowered her head to hide her expression. Why would someone eat the bun that someone else had already eaten? Deskmate? I said, then intentionally took another bite of the bun. Why is your face so red? Allison immediately lowered her head even further, her whole face almost pressed against the table. At this time, she could almost confirm that her new deskmate was teasing her, but she didn't know how to object. After all, my new deskmate had helped her all day, so teasing her a little was okay, right? No, I'm just... After stuttering for a long time, Allison still couldn't say a word. She took a deep breath and finally regained a little reason. She took the remaining bun next to her and handed it to me. You haven't eaten yet, have you? If you want to eat a bun, I can give it to you. You don't need to snatch it. If it's not enough, I can go to the cafeteria and buy more for you. I didn't stand on ceremony and took it. Sorry, I'm really too hungry. I like to eat steamed buns at the cafeteria. But you don't need to go buy them. I still have rice. As I spoke, I put the lunchbox in my hand on the table, then quickly rummaged for something in my desk. In exchange for you. Suddenly, I heard my voice next to me. Allison was slightly surprised. She saw me, like a magician, handing her a lunchbox. Inside was half a box of rice and half a box of fragrant braised pork ribs. Allison couldn't resist swallowing, quickly turning her head away, not looking anymore. You don't need to. No, I've already eaten your bun, and I'm not very hungry now. I definitely won't be able to finish all of this. If you don't eat it, then it'll be a waste again. If I waste it, I'll be scolded when I get home. You don't want to see me being scolded, do you? After speaking, I directly stuffed the lunchbox into Allison's hand, not giving her a chance to refuse at all. Allison was a little confused. She felt that her new deskmate was doing this intentionally, but she couldn't find any evidence. She then carefully took a bite to taste it. Allison suppressed the emotions in her heart and seriously ate. While eating, Allison's gaze fell on me. I was also eating, not looking at her for almost half a day. This was the first time she was looking at her deskmate from such a close distance. Today, he had given her so many things to eat, all of which she normally wouldn't dare to eat. Deskmate isn't as bad as the teachers and friends said. He's really very good. Looking, Allison even forgot to eat. She held a spoonful of rice, just spacing out. Suddenly, a soft laugh came into her ear. Before Allison could react, she heard my voice. She snapped out of it and quickly lowered her head, quickly putting the spoon to her mouth to hide her embarrassment. I'm done for. She was found out by her deskmate. Allison wanted to go crazy. Her small face flushed, her hands also flustered, even a spoonful of rice overflowed. Seeing this, my laughter rang out again. I couldn't help but take out a piece of paper and handed it to her. Little kitten, wipe your face. Allison then realized that there was rice on her face. She immediately wanted to find a hole to crawl into. The evening passed very quickly. Because Allison was a boarder, I went home alone. The next morning, I woke up early on time and went to school. As soon as I entered the classroom, I took out the white rabbit milk candies from my pocket and gave them to Allison. The class in the morning was English, but I quickly discovered a serious problem: I don't seem to know how to read. I had no choice but to ask for help. I looked towards Allison. Deskmate? Allison, who was focusing on studying, looked up from her book. Can you help me with one more thing? Allison was at a loss. Could it be that he was going to force her to eat something again? This morning, she already saw me bring a lunchbox. Although the rice from yesterday was very delicious and the candies were also very sweet, she really didn't want to eat my things every day. Deskmate? I'm not forcing you to eat rice. Then what do you want to do? Allison's face was disbelieving, feeling that some strange idea was about to come out again. I pushed the book closer to Allison. I don't know how to read. Allison put down her book and pulled my book over. Then you read after me, okay? After class, I looked at my little deskmate, whom I had tricked into eating 2 meals and a handful of candy yesterday. Today, she was clearly smarter than yesterday. Today, I had to think of a way to trick her into eating rice. Kevin. Allison's voice suddenly rang out. What's wrong? I have money today. Ms. Thompson gave me $100 this morning. You don't need to give me food. She also said that she would support her with $100 more each month. She was waiting to earn money after the SATs and pay Ms. Thompson back. Ms. Thompson is really enthusiastic, I couldn't help but think to myself. Then how would I get close to my little deskmate? What did you say? I said Ms. Thompson is really good. Yes, that's right. I have to go to the cafeteria now. I helplessly sighed, then went to the cafeteria with Ethan. Arriving at the cafeteria, I saw my little deskmate go to counter number 2. After buying rice, I also walked towards Allison. Allison, who was focusing on eating a steamed bun, suddenly felt a shadow covering her. Before she could raise her head, she saw me put an egg and a fried dough stick on her plate. The vendor gave me some extra food. Eat it. After eating, Allison turned red and awkwardly hurried back to class first. Because Ethan was eating slowly, I had to stay and wait for him. After Ethan finished eating, most of the people in the cafeteria had left. I prepared to stand up and leave, then heard Brittany call from behind. "Kevin." I turned my head and saw Brittany wearing a rabbit ear hat standing there. This hat was a birthday gift I gave her. Brittany had never worn it, but why was she wearing it today? "What's the matter?" Without waiting for me to answer, she continued to say, "Why are you like this? Kevin, you're too childish. Do you think that finding another girl to make me jealous, I'll care about you? You're dreaming. You keep going like this, I'll never care about you again." Brittany couldn't understand. Yesterday, Kevin first gave the roses that should have been for her to someone else, then said such cold words. Why hasn't he come to apologize to her today? She's not just not agreed to so many confessions before, it was the last time that he did not confess. What does Kevin want to do? Does he want to see her bow her head first? She is the most respectable with so many boys who like her in the school, how could she bow her head before a boy who likes her? I finally understood the meaning in Brittany's words. Remember the words you just said today, don't forget it. After speaking, I turned around and walked away without hesitation. Brittany angrily took off the hat on her head and threw it at me, then glared at my back. Brittany saw that I didn't turn my head back, she was a little flustered. Kevin, this jerk. Next to her, Lily was eating with her, looking worried. Lily saw Brittany carefully sit down and pick up the hat that was just thrown away. Lily's eyes flashed, saying nothing. Brittany is very different now compared to before. Could it be that she has started to like Kevin? The second class in the morning was the literature class of Ms. Peterson. There were 5 minutes left until the end of the class. Ms. Peterson stopped lecturing and then briefly talked about dividing into study groups of 4 people. Not unexpectedly, I was assigned to the same group as Allison, Ethan, and Lily. The reason for accepting Lily was because her family was very rich. If I remember correctly, this weekend, Lily's house will host an outdoor gathering for the elderly. This is a gathering of retired cadres. The participants are all former leaders. This opportunity to make money cannot be missed. Of course, I was not just paying attention to that. Lily is a kind-hearted, naive person, smiling and talking all day, a natural optimist, completely different from Allison. Perhaps this personality can help improve Allison's social anxiety. Allison also deserved to have her own friends. Afterwards, I told Lily about my intention to go to her house this weekend. Lily blankly thought for a moment, then agreed. At lunchtime, I stood in the cafeteria, holding the rib lunchbox, feeling very awkward. Now that my deskmate had started to eat on her own, if I showed up with a lunchbox like this, it would seem a bit redundant. While I didn't know what to do, I saw Ethan waving his lunchbox frantically. I quickly gave the lunchbox in my hand to Ethan. Ethan completely didn't see my intention. In his eyes, there was only the ribs that suddenly appeared in his hand. I also achieved my goal of sitting across from Allison and successfully sharing the chicken piece on my plate with her. Allison hesitated slightly. "Where's your ribs?" Ethan snatched them. Allison half-believingly picked up the chicken piece on the plate. "But I'm full, I don't need to eat chicken." "I know, but aren't we helping each other? I like to eat vegetables, you like to eat meat, it's a perfect match." Saying this, I picked up a chopstick of cabbage from Allison's plate. Allison stared blankly at me for a moment. Seeing that I was eating very happily, she had no choice but to lower her head and continue eating. But I fell into thought. It seemed that I had really gone a bit overboard these past few days. I had to think of a way to openly and legitimately eat with my deskmate. While I was thinking, I saw Lily carrying a food tray walking over. Then, I called her. Lily hesitated slightly, but remembering our current relationship, she still walked over. Lily, eat with us. We're now in the same study group, we must study well together. Mealtime, of course, can't be wasted. Eating together can also allow us to study together. What do you think? Lily blankly nodded. At this time, Allison, who had been silent the whole time, raised her head. She didn't seem to understand very much. Kevin, I haven't agreed yet. But, deskmate, Lily and Ethan have both agreed. You're also a member, aren't you? Shouldn't the minority submit to the majority? Allison also felt that something wasn't right. But, seeing me frowning, she didn't continue. Don't worry about what he thinks. I agree to anything Ethan does. He wouldn't dare not agree. Allison silently lowered her head again. Lily, who couldn't get a word in, was completely confused. Why did she feel like she had just been taken advantage of? After thinking for a long time, she still didn't understand. In the end, she decided to give up. Evening self-study was the free revision time for the seniors. Because study groups were divided, the class president suggested that each group could gather together for self-study. Lily spent a very confusing week. Every time it was time for group study, she would see me and Allison studying very hard. After studying with the group for a week, Lily finally felt like a burden had been lifted and returned home. After returning home, she also told her parents about me. Although they didn't agree at first, under her coquettishness, her parents also agreed. The next day, I went to Lily's house as planned. Then, relying on my memories from my previous life, I earned $2,000. Although I only helped Lily's dad with a small matter, this $2,000 was a large amount of money, given her $400 monthly allowance. At noon, I went to school, planning to find Allison. Because her house was far away, she also stayed at school on the weekends. I stood under the girls' dormitory and waited for a while. Finally, I met a classmate. Under the classmate's shocked eyes, I asked her to call Allison. Allison, hearing that I was looking for her, quickly put on her shoes and ran out. After running for a while, she hurried back to get her bag, placed it next to her bed, and then ran out again. It's too cold outside, waiting for so long, Kevin will catch a cold. Allison sped up. When Allison came outside, she didn't see me anywhere. She only saw a group of girls surrounding someone a few meters to the left. There were too many people, so Allison couldn't see the boy in the middle. But she was a little doubtful. Could there be a handsome guy who was more handsome than Kevin? Allison seriously recalled my appearance in her head, and still felt that besides my messy hair, there was no other guy who was more handsome than Kevin. Therefore, she didn't care anymore. Allison looked around. Where's Kevin? Didn't he say he was coming to find me? While thinking, Allison suddenly felt someone putting a coat on her shoulders. Allison saw such a clean and handsome boy for the first time. She stared blankly, not knowing how long had passed before she felt someone gently tapping her head. A soft laugh followed. Why are you so silly? Coming out without wearing a jacket, it's so cold. Allison then realized that she had run out too hastily and didn't wear a jacket. The action I had just made of putting the coat on her also allowed her to feel the gentle breath on her face. Allison's head felt like it was about to explode. She flusteredly took a step back, her face as red as an apple. I don't need it, I'm not cold. As soon as she finished speaking, she shivered from the cold. As expected, a laugh came from above again. Don't be silly, quickly put it on, otherwise you'll catch a cold now. Allison now only felt the hot gazes wanting to burn her. Her head lowered even further. I'll put on the coat now. You wait for me for a bit. She flusteredly escaped from my arms, but after only walking 2 steps, she remembered something and panic-strickenly turned her head back. This, for you. She handed the bag in her hand to me, then ran away. She didn't even realize that she was still wearing my winter coat on her shoulders. Seeing the girl running away, I wanted to laugh a little. I lowered my head and looked at the pink bag Allison had just given me. Carefully, I opened the bag. Inside was a gray-white scarf. I carefully took the scarf out to examine it. It was a men's scarf. This is the scarf my desk mate gave me? This type of wool scarf could only be hand-knitted, which also meant that it was very likely that this was a scarf that my desk mate had hand-knitted for me. Allison quickly ran back to the dormitory, leaning against the door, panting. The scene just now with Kevin almost suffocated her. Allison didn't understand what was happening to her. She could only pat her chest hard to try to soothe this strange feeling. "Allison, why are you wearing a boy's clothes?" A roommate pulled her back to reality. Allison then realized that my clothes were still on her body. She flusteredly smiled, taking off the clothes. She wanted to explain, but didn't know where to start. Her roommate looked at her meaningfully. "Allison, you don't have a boyfriend, do you?" "No." Allison immediately retorted, her voice even a few notes higher. Her roommate's expression was disbelieving, but Allison didn't give her a chance to ask further. She put on her black winter coat and then went outside. My winter coat was still in her hand. Realizing this, Allison sped up again, walking to my side. She had noticed I was holding the scarf. She quick gave me the coat back. "Put it on quickly." "Why aren't you wearing the scarf?" "You'll catch the cold." I said I'm not cold. She said you were going to catch a cold, then you should wear the scarf, while wrapping the scarf around me. When she finished, "Now it's cold again for you." Allison was about to start talking, when she noticed and got back to the topic at hand that, "You have always taken care of me with food and snacks every day. I couldn't figure out how to repay, so I was knitting a scarf to thank you." Now there was slight snow, but she didn't realize it because she was busy in her own thought. So Allison asked, "Do you want a scarf?" I was so glad and felt I'm the luckiest one. "No, you should raise head when offering." Saying that I helped her. And from the past memories there was no more feeling. We started going together towards the bus stop. And she was looking at the ground again to see the weather and was happy. I hold her hands and she got shocked. And asked what you were doing. There was a big love and warmth and she hugged you so tight. It's like for a long time ago. She opened her feelings and asked, "I'm ready to be with you, I accept you and love you. We can get married." I didn't get what was going on and I was smiling like an idiot. Allison also deserved to have friends of her own. Later, I mentioned to Lily my intention of going to her house this weekend. Lily blankly thought for a moment, then agreed. At lunchtime, I stood in the cafeteria, holding the rib lunchbox, feeling very awkward. Now that Allison had started eating on her own, showing up with a lunchbox like this would seem a bit redundant. While I didn't know what to do, I saw Ethan waving his lunchbox frantically. I quickly gave the lunchbox to Ethan, who, oblivious to my intentions, was only focused on the ribs suddenly in his hands. I achieved my goal, sitting across from Allison and successfully sharing the chicken piece on my plate. Allison hesitated slightly. "Where are your ribs?" Ethan snatched them. Allison, half believing, picked up the chicken piece. "But I'm full, I don't need chicken." "I know, but shouldn't we help each other? I like vegetables, you like meat, it's a perfect match." I grabbed a chopstick of cabbage from her plate. Allison stared blankly, then continued eating, while I pondered. I'd been too forward lately. I needed a legitimate way to eat with Allison. As Lily walked over with her tray, I called her over. "Lily, eat with us. We're a study group, we must study hard together. Mealtime shouldn't be wasted. We can study together too. What do you think?" Lily blankly nodded. Allison, silent until now, looked up, seemingly confused. "Kevin, I didn't agree. But Ethan and Lily did. You're a member, aren't you? Shouldn't the minority follow the majority?" Allison felt something was off but remained silent. Lily, unable to get a word in, felt used. She gave up trying to understand. Evening self-study was a time for seniors to review. The class president suggested groups meet. Lily found the week disorienting. Every group study session, Kevin and Allison studied diligently. After a week, Lily felt relieved to go home. She told her parents about me. They initially disapproved, but she persuaded them. The next day, I went to Lily's house. Using my past life memories, I earned $2,000. Although it was a small job for Lily's dad, $2,000 was a lot, considering Lily's $400 monthly allowance. At noon, I planned to find Allison, who stayed at school due to her remote home. I waited under the girls' dorm. A classmate, shocked, called Allison. Hearing I was looking for her, Allison quickly put on her shoes and ran out. Realizing she'd forgotten her bag, she ran back. "It's cold outside, Kevin will catch a cold," Allison sped up. Arriving, she didn't see me, but a group of girls surrounded someone a few meters away. She didn't see the guy in the middle, but wondered if he was as handsome as Kevin. Allison seriously considered my appearance and felt no guy was more handsome. She ignored the group, looking around. "Where's Kevin?" "He said he'd find me." Suddenly, someone draped a coat over her shoulders. Seeing such a clean-cut, handsome boy, Allison stared, mesmerized, until a tap on her head. "Why so silly? Coming out without a coat, it's cold." Allison realized she'd been too hasty and hadn't worn a coat. My action made her feel my gentle breath on her face. Allison's head exploded, she took a step back, her face red. I don't need it, I'm not cold." She shivered. A laugh came from above. "Stop joking, put it on, you'll catch a cold." Allison felt burning gazes, she lowered her head. I'll put it on." "Wait a bit." She escaped my arms, but remembered something. "This, for you." She gave me her bag, running off, forgetting my coat was still on her. Seeing her flee, I chuckled. I looked down at the pink bag. Inside was a gray-white scarf. I carefully examined it. It was a man's scarf. Did Allison make it for me? Only hand knitting could make this kind of scarf. This meant Allison had likely knitted it herself. Allison quickly ran back to the dorm, breathless, leaning against the door. The scene with Kevin almost suffocated her. She didn't understand what was happening, she could only pat her chest to soothe the feeling. "Allison, why are you wearing a guy's clothes?" A roommate brought her back. Allison realized my coat was still on her. She awkwardly smiled, taking it off. She wanted to explain but didn't know how. Her roommate looked knowingly. "Allison, do you have a boyfriend?" "No." Allison retorted, her voice loud. Her roommate looked disbelieving, but Allison didn't give her a chance to ask. She put on her black winter coat and went outside. My coat was still in her hand. She sped up, reaching me. I was holding the scarf. Allison hurried over, giving me my coat. "Put it on, why aren't you wearing the scarf?" "You'll catch a cold." "I'm not cold." "You have to be, your face is red." Allison wrapped the scarf around me, then held it out. I didn't take it, staring at her. She started to blush. You've given me so many meals, snacks every day. I didn't know what you wanted, so I thought of knitting you a scarf, hoping you could use it since it might snow today. But I didn't finish in time. Now the snow seems to have stopped." She stopped, not daring to look up. She held out the scarf. "Kevin, do you want it?" After a long pause, Allison saw I wasn't taking it. She panicked. Maybe winter was over and I didn't need a scarf. "If you don't need it." "Who said I don't want it?" she heard. "You should look up when giving someone a gift." I made her look up, she saw my eyes sparkling. "Put it on me," I said. Allison stared, her mind blank. "Put it on me. Don't you want to give me the scarf?" "I'm cold, help me put it on." Allison instinctively wanted to refuse, but swallowed the words. She'd never put a scarf on anyone. It was too intimate. But if it was Kevin, it was okay. He was always willing to give her candy, chicken, bread, encourage her studies to get into college. Allison slowly took a step closer. As she approached, her heart raced. Reaching me, she saw I'd slightly lowered my head, making my face closer to hers. Allison instinctively held her breath. "Don't get so close, I can't breathe." It was weird. "How can I put on the scarf if I don't get close?" My tone was playful, but Allison couldn't refuse. She quickly wrapped the scarf around my neck, then stepped back, having completed a difficult mission. I laughed. I'd never received a gift this precious, not even expensive ones. I ruffled Allison's hair. "It's snowing, want to take a walk?" Allison thought, then nodded. I walked ahead, Allison followed. I tried to walk next to her, but whenever I slowed, Allison did too. I didn't want to force her. We'd just started being close, I couldn't be hasty. If I scared her, it'd be worse. This was our first date. Allison was tense. She'd never walked around with a boy. It felt strange. It was cold, she shivered. She wanted to keep walking with me, but couldn't take it. She was thinking of an excuse to go back when I stopped at a stall. I picked up a pink-white hat, looking at her. Allison's mind reeled. "Kevin, you want to buy this?" Amused, I looked at her red face. "Yep." Allison blankly looked at me. "For me?" I put the hat in her hand. Allison, confused, wondered why I'd buy a girl's item. Was it for a girl he liked? The thought made her uncomfortable. She didn't know why, her chest felt tight. She sniffed, shyly asking, "It might be too small, it might not fit." "You could give it to another girl." I put the hat on her head. Her body trembled, a strange feeling spreading. Her mind went blank, her face burned. I looked at her blank expression and laughed. I picked up a matching scarf and carefully wrapped it around her. I examined her. It suits you." The vendor, hearing the commotion, came out. "This young man has a good eye. Your girlfriend looks great, and the scarf matches." Hearing this, Allison tried to explain, "I'm not his girlfriend." But I interrupted. "Haha, I think so too." Allison looked at me in disbelief. You think so too?" Why had he stopped here? Why didn't he deny that she was his girlfriend? The vendor brought Allison back. She stopped me. "Kevin, don't buy it, it's expensive." But I quickly paid. "It's okay. You knitted me a scarf, I'll buy you a matching set." "But, you only gave me the scarf to thank me for giving you food." "I'll give you more later. If you feel uncomfortable, knit me a matching hat and gloves." "But winter's over, so it'll be for next winter." "If not next year, then the year after. Life's long, there will be a time for them." Allison stared, stunned. Why did he mention life? Did Kevin want to be with her for life? She couldn't think. How was life possible? They weren't even dating. After buying the items, Allison followed me. She usually hated the street noise, but today she didn't hear it. Her mind was only on the boy ahead. She gathered courage. "Kevin, why are you so nice to me?" Since becoming my deskmate, Allison's life had changed. It was all thanks to me. Growing up, no classmate had treated her so well. Allison was scared. I saw anticipation and fear in her eyes. She was afraid of people touching or approaching her. If I was too forceful, I'd scare her away. I patted her head. "Because we're friends." Allison didn't think I felt only friendship, but she wondered, "We're friends?" "Of course. You didn't have any before." "Before, people approached me to ask for homework help or to bully me. Now you have friends." I adjusted her scarf. "Ethan, Lily, they're all your friends." Seeing her doubtful, I said, "Don't you want to be our friend?" Allison shook her head. "I do." "Then accept us. Friends study together, eat together. Don't refuse us." Remember, if you have problems, come to us, we'll help. Allison smiled. They walked to school. Reaching the gate, they said goodbye. Allison looked at me and called, Kevin. I stopped. I had fun today. I've decided to take the SATs. I want to go to the same school as you. Saying this, she didn't hesitate. Seeing her, I smiled. I had an advantage, being reborn. I'd take the SATs with her. Arriving at class, I'd cut my hair. Everyone was there, and they stared. Who's this handsome guy? So handsome. Everyone knows teamwork makes the dream work. But Ms. Thompson wasn't angry at all, she happily stood by, rambling for a while. Everyone had a great day. After the last self-study session, Lily secretly packed her notebook, signaling to Ethan while leaving. She didn't want to study until midnight. But before she reached the door, Ethan, completely misunderstanding her signal, yelled, Lily, where are you going? To study? Followed by probing looks from Allison and me. Lily, annoyed, glared at Ethan. I was just going to the restroom. Forget it, I won't go, I'll study. Lily glumly went back to the trio, where I handed her another notebook. Read these too, no leaving until you finish. Reluctantly, she took the notebooks and left. Before reaching the study hall, she saw me pulling Allison towards the school garden. Were they secretly dating? Allison had just transferred, so she'd never been there. Getting further away, she was curious. Kevin, where are we going? I chuckled. Allison, are you afraid I'll sell you? Allison exclaimed, then mumbled, I know you wouldn't. There's a garden. We'll study English there. You'll need to help me with listening comprehension. I'd decided to attend the same college, so I couldn't waste time. Allison nodded, and they cheerfully ran towards the garden. While running, Allison suddenly stopped. Kevin, there's someone there. In a smaller garden, a boy was quickly standing up, blocking a girl's view. They'd clearly interrupted something good. The boy's lips were swollen. Allison, confused, said, Classmate. I grabbed her arm. Allison, hurry up, don't waste time. Allison reluctantly moved on. Arriving at the garden, I stopped. Allison, out of breath, looked at me. Kevin, weren't they studying? But the boy's lips were swollen. Why didn't you let me tell him? It's okay. Maybe he ate a hot sweet potato. But... I interrupted. An hour passed, and I'd finally finished asking Allison thousands of questions. I opened a book, studying with Allison. Her reading voice was pleasant, and I was drawn in. I looked at her profile. Halfway through reading, I interrupted. Wait, Allison, I didn't hear that. Read it again. Allison nodded. Looking down, she froze. The book clearly said, I love you, Kevin. Allison couldn't believe it. I love you. Each word was common, easy to read, but even if she was dumb, Allison knew what they meant. Kevin, did you do this? Is it too hard? I couldn't hear you. Remembering my terrible English grades, Allison sighed in relief. I must have misunderstood. It's not hard. I'll read it to you. She looked down. Although she'd decided to read it, she was nervous. She took a deep breath, suppressing the feeling, and read, I love. She felt her heart racing. She didn't dare look at me, quickly moving on to the next sentence. All night, Allison's face was red, but she seriously read the entire text. When self-study ended, she packed her books and ran from the garden. If she stayed with Kevin, she'd suffocate. I'm sleepy, I'm going back to the dorm. Before I looked up, she'd run far away. I packed and prepared to go home. As the weekend ended, classmates discussed going out to eat. Allison and I declined. As Allison finished, I moved closer. You're knitting me a hat and gloves, right? Allison's face flushed. She nervously fumbled, instinctively saying, no. Why had he guessed? She hadn't even bought yarn yet. I pulled a bag of yarn from my desk and put it in her arms. Here's the yarn, eat well. Allison used her book to hide the yarn. Okay. I ruffled her hair. Saturday afternoon, I'll take you out. Go home now. Allison wondered, where? You'll see. The next day, her roommate, Wanda, realized Allison hadn't left the room, staying in bed all day. Wanda, buying lunch at the cafeteria, found Allison still busy. You're knitting gloves? It's mid-March, no need for gloves. Wanda thought, then remembered Allison knitting a men's scarf the weekend before. The scarf had vanished by Sunday afternoon. Was she busy again? Wanda had a thought. She leaned closer. Allison, do you have a boyfriend? Whenever relationships were discussed, Allison blushed, but today, she didn't react. Was she daydreaming? Wanda looked at the gloves. They were big, clearly men's. She spoke into Allison's ear. Allison. Startled, Allison hid her knitting needles. Wanda, what? What am I doing? Shouldn't I be asking that? She was knitting for her boyfriend, right? No. Allison denied, but her face was red. She lowered her head, trying to convince herself. I don't have a boyfriend, I'm knitting for my little brother. Everyone knew Allison had a brother. Wanda nodded, half believing. Okay, I thought there was something interesting. She handed Allison bread. You're busy, you haven't eaten. I bought too much, here. Instinctively, Allison wanted to decline, but remembering my words, she nodded. Thanks. Now, she had to repay Wanda. She took a small bite and looked at Wanda. Wanda, what do you like to eat? Wanda sat up. I don't know what I like. I can eat anything. What's good lately? Allison changed the question. Lately? Wanda thought. The fruit parlor just opened in the plaza. It's good. Allison nodded, taking out a small notebook hidden under her pillow. She opened it and wrote, Roommate Wanda likes fruit parlor. Finished, Allison paused. What did Kevin like? He seemed to like and dislike everything. Allison felt guilty. He treated her so well, but she didn't know such simple things. She needed to pay attention. She checked the time. It was almost 2 p.m. Kevin said he'd take her out, but he wasn't here. She was excited. Someone called, Allison Moore? Someone's looking for you. Allison quickly stood and ran out. Reaching the door, she realized she'd forgotten her coat, and ran back. She couldn't lose face. Arriving, she saw me, holding a pink box, surrounded by girls. Allison hesitated, feeling jealous. Allison, what are you daydreaming about? Come here. I called. The girls looked. Someone asked, Handsome, do you have a girlfriend? I nodded. I'm sorry. The girls disappointedly left. Allison looked at me, shocked. What did you say? You have a girlfriend? It couldn't be her. Why would he say that? Crazy. She wasn't his girlfriend. The girls were annoying him. Allison, help me with something. She nodded. So that's it. She was worried. The hat and gloves aren't done yet, I'm slow. It's okay, you won't need them this winter. I handed her the pink box. For you. Thank you. She looked down, not daring to look. Amused, I said, aren't you going to open it? Allison opened the box, smelling yogurt and fruit. She looked at me. Fruit parlor? I was surprised. You know about it? Wanda just told me. Lots of people at school know about it. She remembered something. Wait. She ran back to the dorm. Wanda, buying an apple, saw Allison run in, give her the box, and run off. I saw Allison return, empty-handed. Where's the fruit? I gave it to Wanda. She gave me bread, I asked what she liked, and she said the fruit parlor. I stared, dumbfounded. She'd really listened. But the situation was odd. She was trying to befriend Wanda. I patted her head. Let's go. Okay. She followed, happy. Seeing me head towards the internet cafe, she stopped. Kevin, the internet cafe? She wanted to say only bad kids went there, but Kevin wasn't bad. It's okay, let's go. You said you didn't have a QQ account? I'll sign you up. Everyone knows teamwork makes the dream work, so Ms. Thompson wasn't angry, happily standing by and rambling on. Everyone had a great day. After the last self-study session, Lily quietly packed her notebook, signaling to Ethan while leaving. She didn't want to study until midnight. But before she reached the door, Ethan, completely misunderstanding her signal, yelled, "Lily, where are you going? To study?" Followed by questioning looks from Allison and me. Lily, annoyed, glared at Ethan. I was just going to the restroom. Forget it, I won't go, I'll study. Lily glumly went back to the trio, where I handed her another notebook. Read these too, no leaving until you finish. Reluctantly, she took the notebooks and left. Before reaching the study hall, she saw me pulling Allison towards the school garden. Were they secretly dating? Allison had just transferred, so she'd never been there. Getting further away, she was curious. Kevin, where are we going? I chuckled. Allison, are you afraid I'll sell you? Allison exclaimed, then mumbled, I know you wouldn't. There's a garden. We'll study English there. You'll need to help me with listening comprehension. I'd decided to attend the same college, so I couldn't waste time. Allison nodded, and they cheerfully ran towards the garden. While running, Allison suddenly stopped. Kevin, there's someone there. In a smaller garden, a boy was quickly standing up, blocking a girl's view. They'd clearly interrupted something good. The boy's lips were swollen. Allison, confused, said, "Classmate." I grabbed her arm. Allison, hurry up, don't waste time. Allison reluctantly moved on. Arriving at the garden, I stopped. Allison, out of breath, looked at me. Kevin, weren't they studying? But the boy's lips were swollen. Why didn't you let me tell him? It's okay. Maybe he ate a hot sweet potato. But... I interrupted. An hour passed, and I'd finally finished asking Allison thousands of questions. I opened a book, studying with Allison. Her reading voice was pleasant, and I was drawn in. I looked at her profile. Halfway through reading, I interrupted. Wait, Allison, I didn't hear that. Read it again. Allison nodded. Looking down, she froze. The book clearly said, I love you, Kevin. Allison couldn't believe it. I love you. Each word was common, easy to read, but even if she was dumb, Allison knew what they meant. Kevin. Did you do this? Is it too hard? I couldn't hear you. Remembering my terrible English grades, Allison sighed in relief. I must have misunderstood. It's not hard. I'll read it to you. She looked down. Although she'd decided to read it, she was nervous. She took a deep breath, suppressing the feeling, and read, I love. She felt her heart racing. She didn't dare look at me, quickly moving on to the next sentence. All night, Allison's face was red, but she seriously read the entire text. When self-study ended, she packed her books and ran from the garden. If she stayed with Kevin, she'd suffocate. I'm sleepy, I'm going back to the dorm. Before I looked up, she'd run far away. I packed and prepared to go home. As the weekend ended, classmates discussed going out to eat. Allison and I declined. As Allison finished, I moved closer. You're knitting me a hat and gloves, right? Allison's face flushed. She nervously fumbled, instinctively saying, no. Why had he guessed? She hadn't even bought yarn yet. I pulled a bag of yarn from my desk and put it in her arms. Here's the yarn, eat well. Allison used her book to hide the yarn. Okay. I ruffled her hair. Saturday afternoon, I'll take you out. Go home now. Allison wondered, where? You'll see. The next day, her roommate, Wanda, realized Allison hadn't left the room, staying in bed all day. Wanda, buying lunch at the cafeteria, found Allison still busy. You're knitting gloves? It's mid-March, no need for gloves. Wanda thought, then remembered Allison knitting a men's scarf the weekend before. The scarf had vanished by Sunday afternoon. Was she busy again? Wanda had a thought. She leaned closer. Allison, do you have a boyfriend? Whenever relationships were discussed, Allison blushed, but today, she didn't react. Was she daydreaming? Wanda looked at the gloves. They were big, clearly men's. She spoke into Allison's ear. Allison. Startled, Allison hid her knitting needles. Wanda, what? What am I doing? Shouldn't I be asking that? She was knitting for her boyfriend, right? No. Allison denied, but her face was red. She lowered her head, trying to convince herself. I don't have a boyfriend, I'm knitting for my little brother. Everyone knew Allison had a brother. Wanda nodded, half believing. Okay, I thought there was something interesting. She handed Allison bread. You're busy, you haven't eaten. I bought too much, here. Instinctively, Allison wanted to decline, but remembering my words, she nodded. Thanks. Now, she had to repay Wanda. She took a small bite and looked at Wanda. Wanda, what do you like to eat? Wanda sat up. I don't know what I like. I can eat anything. What's good lately? Allison changed the question. Lately? Wanda thought. The fruit parfait place just opened at the plaza. It's good. Allison nodded, taking out a small notebook hidden under her pillow. She opened it and wrote, Roommate Wanda likes fruit parfait. Finished, Allison paused. What did Kevin like? He seemed to like and dislike everything. Allison felt guilty. He treated her so well, but she didn't know such simple things. She needed to pay attention. She checked the time. It was almost 2 p.m. Kevin said he'd take her out, but he wasn't here. She was excited. Someone called, Allison Moore? Someone's looking for you. Allison quickly stood and ran out. Reaching the door, she realized she'd forgotten her coat, and ran back. She couldn't lose face. Arriving, she saw me, holding a pink box, surrounded by girls. Allison hesitated, feeling a little jealous. Allison, what are you daydreaming about? Come here. I called. The girls looked. Someone asked, Handsome, do you have a girlfriend? I nodded. I'm sorry. The girls disappointedly left. Allison looked at me, shocked. What did you say? You have a girlfriend? It couldn't be her. Why would he say that? Crazy. She wasn't his girlfriend. The girls were annoying him. Allison, help me with something. She nodded. So that's it. She was worried. The hat and gloves aren't done yet, I'm slow. It's okay, you won't need them this winter. I handed her the pink box. For you. Thank you. She looked down, not daring to look. Amused, I said, aren't you going to open it? Allison opened the box, smelling yogurt and fruit. She looked at me. Fruit parfait? I was surprised. You know about it? Wanda just told me. Lots of people at school know about it. She remembered something. Wait. She ran back to the dorm. Wanda, buying an apple, saw Allison run in, give her the box, and run off. I saw Allison return, empty-handed. Where's the fruit? I gave it to Wanda. She gave me bread, I asked what she liked, and she said the fruit parlor. Hearing the explanation, I was stunned. She'd really listened. But the situation was odd. She was trying to befriend Wanda. I patted her head, reassuring myself. Let's go have fun. Allison followed obediently, happy, although she didn't know where they were going. But when she saw me about to enter the internet cafe, she stopped. Kevin, the internet cafe? Allison wanted to say only bad kids went there, but clearly, Kevin wasn't bad. She didn't know what to say. It's okay, let's go. You said you didn't have a QQ account? I'll sign you up. If you don't come to the internet cafe, how can I sign you up? Allison looked up. She had just said it casually that day. Kevin remembered it in his heart. Don't daydream, let's go. Studying should be combined with work and rest, otherwise you will be too tired. Then I led Allison into it and opened 2 computers. After I carefully guided her, Allison successfully had her own QQ account and learned how to use and add friends. An hour passed quickly, and Allison learned almost everything. After shutting down the computer, Allison was wondering if she should go back to school when she heard my voice. Classmate, help me buy a gift. Tonight, Aunt Jean's daughter, that is, my future younger sister, will come home for dinner. It's the first time we're meeting. As an older brother I have to give her a gift. With this reason, Allison could not refuse. Near the entrance of the pedestrian street, I saw Ethan and Lily, each holding 2 portions of fruit parfaits, strolling leisurely. Seeing us, Ethan jumped cheerfully to run over. Brother Kevin, Allison, you 2 are also here. Where are you planning to go? I pointed to the fruit parfait in Ethan's hand. Ethan is too greedy. School will start tomorrow, so today I have to eat a lot. Without being polite, I took a portion from Ethan's hand. Okay, you guys go back, I'll take revenge for this portion. Ethan had to leave depressed, grumbling as he walked. Why didn't you take it from Lily? Lily slapped his back hard. I'm not as fat as you. Allison looked at the fruit parfait in her hand, slightly stunned. Kevin, that's not very good. What's not good? If Ethan doesn't lose weight, it won't be good for his health. You can eat with peace of mind. Allison had to accept it and thought that she would buy Ethan a chicken leg for dinner tomorrow. Why is this box white? The one Kevin gave me this morning was clearly pink. Maybe the batch was changed. Allison carefully opened the box and the yogurt inside made her stunned. Kevin, this is not the Star brand. Allison felt that something was not quite right, but she could not say what was not right. What? Is that all? How could I fool you, classmate? Eat quickly. Allison half-believingly nodded, and she used a small spoon to take a spoonful and eat seriously. Obedient, right? Allison nodded vigorously. After she ate a few bites, I couldn't help but laugh, and Allison, who was eating intently, was a little confused. She stopped and looked at me seriously. What's wrong? I took a step forward and raised my hand. Don't move, there's yogurt on your face. Allison, who was about to step back, stood still. She felt my hand stroking towards her mouth, and at that moment, Allison didn't know where the strange thought came from, and she suddenly stuck her tongue out and gently licked the yogurt on the spot where I had just touched. The yogurt that was stuck on my face was probably in that position. However, immediately afterwards, she felt a strange feeling on her lips, as if the tip of her tongue had touched my finger. Allison took a step back in panic. I didn't do it on purpose. It's okay, it was cleaned up just now. I pulled my hand back, gently rubbing my finger out of her sight. The tongue of my little deskmate was soft and there was an indescribable feeling. At that moment, I almost lost my composure. Allison hurriedly lowered her head, not daring to look at me again, and she was about to go crazy. What was I doing? That's Kevin's hand. What are you daydreaming about, classmate? The voice next to me brought Allison back to reality, and she hurriedly lowered her head even lower. Oh no. Oh no. I can't believe this happened. At last, after finishing the fruit parfait, Allison tentatively raised her head. Let's go. As if nothing had happened. I walked behind Allison and led her around, thinking about what to buy. While walking, I noticed that my little deskmate stopped in front of her. In front of her was a small hairpin stand with various kinds of hair clips. Allison's eyes stopped at a strawberry-shaped hairpin. "Do you want to buy it?" My voice rang next to Allison's ear, and Allison hurriedly shook her head, "No. It's very expensive, it costs $2. It's too expensive, Kevin, let's go." I nodded, but when Allison just turned around, I quickly signaled the owner of the stall to put the money next to the hairpin, then took the hairpin and put it in my pocket. A minute later, Allison was standing in front of a large stall selling stuffed animals. I walked to her side, and she also stopped. The two looked at the big, gangster rabbit hanging in the middle at the same time. When the stall owner saw us, he happily greeted us with a smile as bright as a flower. "Little girl, you have a good eye. This is the best-selling item in my store. Today's promotion is only $45. Just, let him buy it for you." Allison almost instinctively shook her head. No, it's not buying it for me, it's buying it for his younger sister." The stall owner looked at me doubtfully. Seeing this, I took the gangster rabbit in the stall owner's hand with amusement. "Uncle, $30 for one, will you sell two or not?" Without speaking, I gave the stall owner $100. Receiving the gangster rabbit, I quickly handed one to Allison. "This one is for you, consider it a reward for going out with me today. The one in your hand is a gift for your sister, isn't it? You shouldn't. Don't but, otherwise, I won't take you out." Allison had to shut up. After buying the gangster rabbit, Allison and I went back to school together. At the school gate, Allison lowered her head and said, "Hurry back, it's almost dinner time. It's the first time you are meeting your sister, and it will not be good if you are late." "Well, I am going back to the dormitory first." Allison hugged the gangster rabbit tightly in her arms, bit her lip, turned and walked into the school. At that moment, she heard my voice calling classmate. Allison turned her head doubtfully, and saw me raising my hand, and quickly tucked her hair to the side, then raised the other hand and put something on her. Allison's eyes widened in surprise. It was the pink strawberry hairpin. "When did you buy it?" "I bought it casually when passing by just now, but..." Allison planned to take off the hairpin, but I stopped her quickly. "Don't move." I looked at Allison seriously. Her long eyelashes under her forehead flickered, and I couldn't help but take off her glasses. At that moment, my heart beat faster and there was a feeling like it was the first time I had fallen in love. Allison realized that I was staring at her, and she instinctively touched her face. "What's wrong? Is there dirt on my face?" "Classmate, do you really not know how bad you are being?" Finally, I put her glasses back on. "Just like this, just wear them like this from now on." "Why?" "Because you look so beautiful that way. Listen to me, okay?" Well, okay, I'm going now." Allison hugged the gangster rabbit and quickly ran towards the school gate. Where I couldn't see her, I then went to and leant against a wall, all alone. Her heart thumped, and she desperately tried to hide her face with the rabbit, but it was no use. What was I doing? Why was my heart beating so fast when I was near Kevin? It was totally out of control. Today, he gave me gifts, a gangster rabbit and a strawberry hairpin. They were things I'd wanted for so long but never dared to buy. Allison took the hairpin off, carefully touching its surface and then, without thought, putting it to her lips. Realizing what she'd done, she crammed the hairpin into her bag and took a deep breath to try to calm down but, after a moment, came across another issue. The hairpin was small so easy to hide, but what about the rabbit? She couldn't simply carry this gigantic thing to the dorm? Near instinctively, she took off her coat, stuffed the rabbit inside, and marched off towards her dorm. Wang Xiaohua was bored and didn't know what to do. She saw Allison coming carrying a huge bag. "Allison," she said. "What are you carrying?" "Oh, nothing," Allison replied, hurrying to hide the coat behind her back. "Nothing, and wrapped so tightly?" "I'm going to have a look." Wang Xiaohua launched herself off the bed, intending to grab Allison's coat, but she clutched it. "Really, it's nothing." "Oh, go on, let me see." "I'm going to eat lunch, I'll help you." Then she turned away and went back, Wang Xiaohua reached up and grabbed Allison's coat. A huge rabbit fell out. "Wow, a gangster rabbit," she said. "Did Kevin buy this for you?" "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I was just curious." "It seems you've truly fallen in love, Allison." Allison replied, embarrassed. "I like him a lot but I'm too shy to say it." Wang Xiaohua then said, "Love comes once, try to hang in there, stay strong and be open with him," and turned off the light to go to sleep, leaving Allison alone and wondering. The next morning, Allison decided to confess her feelings. She arranged to meet Kevin at the familiar lakeside where they had often worked. A gentle autumn breeze blew as the lake sparkled in the morning light. Allison took a deep breath and looked Kevin directly in the eyes. Her voice was trembling. "Kevin, I like you, but I'm too shy to say it." Kevin stood still, a smile slowly spreading across his lips. He gently took Allison's hand, his eyes bright. "I'm so glad because I like you a lot as well. I will always be by your side, protecting you from all the bad people out there." The sky seemed bluer, the sun brighter. Allison snuggled against Kevin's shoulder, her heart overflowing with happiness. From now on, they would continue writing their sweet love story.